Hey everyone, I'm Mack from laughingplace.com, and today we are going to be unboxing the Marvel Legends series Supervillains Wave from Hasbro. We have 7 figures here, including an 8th Build-A-Figure that we're going to be unboxing and assembling. So let's dive into this and take a look at some of these really, really awesome new figures. Okay, our first figure is going to be the AIM Scientist Supreme. You can see the character design here. We also have a nice little tech accessory for him, as well as the arm for our Build-A-Figure. And on the back, we have some art of the character as well. So let's open this one up and take a look at what we get with the AIM Scientist Supreme. Okay, so here he is, the AIM Scientist Supreme. You can see pretty basic figure here, pretty simple sculpt. The head is unique for sure. I definitely had to loosen him up a little bit as I opened him up to even be able to stand him because it was, just a little bit stiff, but lots of articulation. You can see in the wrists, the elbows, even in the neck, you can pose his head a little bit. Obviously the knees, the ankles, you can turn his feet all the way around. So lots of different poses you can do with this character. Like I said, we have his little tech accessory here as well. No alternate heads or hands with this figure like we'll see with some of the other ones in this wave. But we do have this accessory here, which I don't think is really anything specific, kind of just a general tech piece. And then we have the first piece of our Build-A-Figure. This is an arm, and I should probably mention that the Build-A-Figure will be none other than Xemnu, the big white beast that you'll see in just a little bit as we get to assemble him. But here is our first piece here. But then, yeah, here is the AIM Scientist Supreme, which is really cool piece to add to your collection. A pretty unique character, and not one that they've ever had before. We had AIM troop builder figures in the past, but now we have the Scientist Supreme. So pretty cool addition to the collection. And we actually did the MODOK unboxing, which we can put a link to down below. That was a couple months ago. So now you can have MODOK and the Scientist Supreme. On to our second figure here, and this is going to be Lady Deathstrike, the classic X-Men villain. You can see no accessories actually with this character aside from our Build-A-Figure piece, but a really awesome sculpt, classic look for this character. So a really cool new figure. You can see some art again on the back of the box as well as on the side, just giving you a look at some cool artwork for this character. Again, with that classic look that mirrors that from the X-Men animated series from the 90s. So probably what people picture when they think of this character. So let's open this up and take a look. Okay, here is Lady Deathstrike. Again, this one was a little bit harder to pose because having these kind of big, bulky outfits like these sleeves here make bending the elbows a little bit more difficult, but still lots of points of articulation, same as the AIM Scientist Supreme. You get the ankles, the knees, the elbows. You can even turn her head a little bit. I will say she does have some tiny little feet, so she is a little bit top heavy, so a little bit harder to stand up than some of the others. It's also a little bit of a smaller figure here. Let me grab the Scientist Supreme just to show you a comparison in the size here. So you can see the AIM Scientist Supreme is probably about maybe a little bit less than an inch taller, and definitely just a bulkier figure in general. Obviously, most of the weight here with this character is in her hands and these giant claws. But aside from that, just a really cool piece, and again, a character who is not made very often. So a nice one to collect, to add to your collection of Marvel figures, especially if you're a collector of villains. And again, like I said, that classic X-Men animated series look. So a really cool piece. And then also, again, like I said, no accessories with this aside from just the body, the torso of our Xemnu Build-A-Figure, which we are gonna be assembling as we go along here. Our next villain is going to be the Hood, and I love that they included this character in this wave. Obviously a much lesser known character, but one of my favorites. Parker Robbins is a very interesting, cool villain who has this magical hood that grants him all kinds of incredible abilities, and sort of a crime lord on the streets of New York. So really, really cool character, and not one that you see in Hasbro figures very often. So I love that they included him. Let's open this up and take a look. Okay, so before I get them all hooded up, I just wanted to show you that really at its core, this figure is just Parker Robbins. So you basically have this civilian, this petty thief here, just guy in street clothes. Then we have lots of accessories here. We've got, of course, his mystical cloak, which looks very Doctor Strange-esque. I'll give you a closer look there. So you can see, you can pop that right on him. It's nice to see that it is detachable. We also have some weapons for him as well. There's a couple of these, one for each hand, as well as sort of a blast coming out of them. So we'll get them all posed up. And then we also have our first leg for our Dormammu Build-A-Figure as well. So we're gonna continue to assemble that, but let's get him all cloaked up here and get a look at the actual hood. Okay, so now we have the hood with his mystical cloak on. He's got his weapons in hand. You can see he is firing. I will say this is the most difficult character yet to pose. The hood itself, the cloak itself, doesn't really stay on in any significant way. You can see it just kind of slides right off. So when you stand him, it does help him to stand, so there's that, but it also kind of pushes up a little bit. So it's kind of hard to, if you really want to get that good action pose, a little bit hard sometimes, but now you can see I got him set up. Took a little bit of time, but it works pretty well. So yeah, really, really cool look. I love that it's just basically a civilian when you take away all the accessories, but when you get them all together, really awesome looking character and a nice addition to anyone's collection. Jumping back into the X-Men universe here, we've got Arcade, and this is a very goofy, funny villain. I love the art on the back. Gives you a good idea. And by the way, there are descriptions of these characters on the back of each box. Some more really great art on the side here as well. Awesome classic look to the character. You can see our first one with an alternate head here, so we'll get those switched out. Some more accessories, another leg for our Build-A-Figure. Let's get this one opened up and take a look. Okay, here is Arcade. Like I said, just an awesome classic look for this character as well. You can see we've got a couple of accessories. We've got an alternate head here, so we have the sort of clean, straightforward version of the character, as well as the longer hair, more sort of wild, maniacal version here. We have his staff, and then of course we have the next leg for Dormammu. So we'll put that off to the side and we'll continue to assemble that figure. But again, here we just have a nice, clean look to this character in his classic white suit with his big yellow bow tie. I love that he has these big platform shoes on here. Really, really awesome detail. Also makes him fairly easy to stand up compared to some of the others. I mean, you can see very easily posed too. Again, lots of articulation, so you can do pretty much whatever you want with him, though Arcade is probably not one that you're gonna do a whole lot of action poses with. He's more of the guy behind the scenes. But let's get him with his staff in hand and get this alternate head on him as well and take another look. Okay, here he is with that staff, with that alternate head. I love this completed look for this character. You can see this sort of evil grin he's got on this alternate head here. So again, just a pretty cool look to this character. I love the staff. And another classic X-Men villain that is kind of overlooked pretty often. You don't really see too many Arcade figures out there. So again, I love that this one is included in this wave. Okay, now we're getting into some of the heavy hitters. We've got Dormammu with this classic comic book look. Obviously, if you only recognize Dormammu from the Doctor Strange movie, he's going to be probably unrecognizable here. But this is the comic book version of the character, and it's only fitting that we are going through these super villain figures with a thunderstorm going on outside. So some ambiance there for you. But we got some classic artwork on the back of the box as well. And then on the side, and as you can see, lots of accessories with him here. He's got some alternate hands and then some sort of magic energy. So let's open this up and take a look at what we got here. Okay, here is our Dormammu figure. Really, really awesome look, very easily posable. Had no issues, positioning his legs, his arms, anything like that. This black piece, the sort of crown around his face, is removable, so keep that in mind. Almost lost that one as I was opening it up. But it does come with plenty of accessories too. You can see some alternate hands. He's got 2 sets of alternate hands actually. So he has these ones that he has on right now, these kind of almost half open, half closed. He's got these completely open, and then these balled up fists, and then a couple of magic pieces as well. And then, of course, we have our Zemnu arm as well, so we're almost done with the Build-A-Figure. But let's interchange some of these accessories and see what we can do with Dormammu. Okay, so we got some alternate hands on Dormammu now, and then you can see we've got these, the fire burst energy kind of pieces. These are a little bit difficult to pose on his hands, but makes for a really awesome looking action shot. And if you wanted to take some really cool pictures with Dormammu, that's gonna add a nice touch. But again, really easy to pose, fairly easy to get to stand up compared to some of the other figures, so there you go. And then again, we have 2 more, or 1 other set of alternate hands that we haven't seen on him yet, but we don't need to take a look at that. They're just fists, no other accessories that go along with them. So again, this is probably my favorite one so far, but we do have 2 more that we're gonna get into, and then our Build-A-Figure, so we're almost there. And like I said, Dormammu was my favorite so far, but these last 2 are 2 absolutely classic Marvel villains and 2 of my favorites. So right now we have the Red Skull. You can see lots of accessories here. We've got some alternate hands and alternate head. He's got a weapon. He's even got a cosmic cube in there. And then we have the head for our Build-A-Figure. Of course, some really cool artwork on the back as well. And on the side, let's get this one opened up. I'm excited to check this one out. All right, here is the Red Skull. A very basic sculpt to this figure, so very easy to pose, very easy to stand. Some really cool details on him, but I wanted to point out too, we have our Zemnu head, the final piece of our Build-A-Figure. So once we get through our final figure next, we will take a look at the Build-A-Figure. We've got a couple sets of alternate hands, which will be better for holding some of these other accessories. We have an alternate head here, so you can see the one that he has on right now has this sort of maniacal grin, and then this one is a much more straight-faced alternate head there. Again, we have weapon for him, and then we have the cosmic cube, or the Tesseract if you want to call it the Tesseract. Nobody's going to stop you, so you could do that too. So whatever you need the Red Skull to be doing, you have everything you need for him here. This is a really awesome figure. I love that it is the classic Hydra green, and then you even have this Hydra armband with the logo on there. If we can get it to focus on it, that's a little bit better. But yeah, so some really awesome detailing in this figure. Let's switch him out with some of these accessories here and take a look at what you can do with the Red Skull. Okay, so now I switched out his head, so he has the other head on. Very easy to swap out these pieces on this figure, more so than some of the others, especially than that Dormammu figure with those energy blasts that he has on his hands. Very easy to get him to hold his weapon, as well as the cosmic cube here. So lots of cool poses you could do with this figure. Again, very easy to stand and maneuver. Lots of great action shots you could do with him if you have your Captain America figure to pair him up with. And then again, here are the other alternate hands. These are just basic fists. So whatever you need this figure to be doing, you really have everything you need right in this one package here. So another really cool one. Let's move on to our final Marvel super villain in this wave here. And speaking of classic Marvel villains, it doesn't get any more classic than Doctor Doom. This one is so awesome. There's obviously plenty of Doctor Doom figures out there throughout the history of Hasbro and the Marvel Legends series, but this one is specific to the 2015 comic series Secret Wars, and we'll get into some more of the details. Obviously, you can see some interesting accessories in here with him. We've got some really great artwork, as always, on the back and on the side. Let's get this one opened up, and I'll get into some more of the details about this specific version of the character. All right, here is our Doctor Doom. Not quite as posable as some of the others, as you could guess by some of these pieces that come with him. The cape and this skirt here and the hood make it a little bit more difficult to maneuver some of the pieces of him here, but still lots of points of articulation. You can do lots of cool poses with him, and that is due in large part to these accessories that come with him. And interestingly, 3 alternate hands. So rather than 2 completely different sets like we've seen with some of the others, like Red Skull and Dormammu, where you had two sets or a set of fists and some other ones. So instead of just three alternates, you can kind of play around with whatever you want to do with this figure here and these accessories. I should explain this one here though. So like I said, this is specifically, this version of the character is specifically from the 2015 Secret Wars comic arc. And in that comic arc, Doom is the ruler of a new realm called Battle World, and all of the heroes have been dropped in there and are trying to overthrow Doom. And he actually comes face to face with Thanos, as you can see here. Things don't go very well for Thanos, and things end pretty poorly for the Mad Titan, and Doom really shows off his power in that comic series. And so it's a really, really awesome, fun series. They do a lot of cool stuff with Doom. I highly recommend you check it out, but let's first switch out some of these accessories and see what you can do with Doom here. So as you can see, you can get Doom to hold Thanos' spine and skull in his hand here. So if you have your Thanos figure, maybe hide him from this Doom figure because things don't go very well for him. I love that they went with this specific version of this character and gave you this awesome accessory and take that really cool moment right out of the comics and let you recreate it. Definitely makes for some awesome poses, some really cool photography opportunities there. So I love that they did this. And this was our final figure in this wave. So you know what that means. We have our Xemnu Build-A-Figure fully assembled. So let's take a look at that one. But one more time real quick, just another look at this Doom figure. This is probably my favorite one in this set. I really love those last three. But this whole wave has been really, really cool. This Marvel Legends series Super Villains wave is one of my favorites we've done an unboxing for video here. Okay, here is our Xemnu Build-A-Figure, and you can see just the sheer size of him just in this one shot without any comparison here. But here is the Red Skull, and you can see the difference in these two figures. As is usually the case with the Build-A-Figures, they are always much bigger than the other ones in the wave. But and speaking of typical things with the Build-A-Figures, he's not quite as posable as some of the others. You do still have these points of articulation in the knees, the ankles, and stuff like that, but a little bit more difficult to pose. That being said, luckily Xemnu has these giant feet, so very easy to get to stand up. So that is a nice thing about it. This is a very obscure character, one that they have not done a figure for in the past, so I love that they threw him in here. Build-A-Figure always allows them to include some of the really big hulking characters, so I love that we got the chance to get Xemnu in here. And yeah, just another nice piece to add to your collection if you're really getting into the weeds of Marvel supervillains. So there you have it. That is the full Marvel Legends series Supervillains wave from Hasbro. A really, really awesome wave of figures to add to your collection. Everybody has all of their favorite heroes already. It's time to start adding some of the bad guys to your collection here. So hopefully you enjoyed this unboxing video. I know I had a lot of fun opening all of these awesome figures up and taking a look. If you did, be sure to check out some of our other unboxing videos in the past. We've looked at a wave of symbiotes. We looked at that MODOK figure that I mentioned before, and some X-Men figures as well. We also have all kinds of other Star Wars figures and other Disney toys and things like that. So be sure to follow along, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, and get notifications when we have our new videos up. If you are looking for any more Marvel news or Disney news in general, be sure to head over to laughingplace.com. And aside from that, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll be back real soon. Bye everyone.